I wanted to be able to talk on the phone without bothering people, so I picked up this. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. There are many times, maybe like you, that I want to take a call, record an audio message, maybe even record a video or something like that to someone, and I'm out in public. You know, you're sitting in a Starbucks or a Caribou Coffee, which we don't have around here anymore, or Brazil Coffee in Royal Oak, which I don't even know if exists anymore. It's a place I would go to as a kid. But one of the things that I've noticed is that even when I'm in an airport, you're sitting at the gate, people are taking phone calls for work all the time. They're talking about some things that I'm like, oh, dude, that's kind of private, you know? Even people on Zoom calls, like I can hear the other people talking, and they're not even wearing headphones. And so I've always been kind of obsessed with the idea of how can you be in public and take calls, record notes, record a quick voicemail to someone, all those things without disturbing other people, without giving up privacy, without leaking confidential information, like the Peter Von Panda channel is going to release a line of limited edition hoodies. Don't let anyone know. We don't want to sell out beforehand. So listen, here is this guy. I have tried out some of these things like the voice blocks and even like one of those steno masks. This one is actually Mutalk 2. Apparently they had a Mutalk 1, and it's by Shift All, not Shift Some stuff, but Shift It All. So I picked this up because it's supposed to be like the latest and greatest in terms of masks that you can wear, talk into it, record audio, and not disturb people. Now, I will say that my expectations for this are pretty low, despite the fact that I have paid some pretty good money to get this thing. I think it was like $170. So not exactly cheap and not exactly easy to get out of this box. Oh my gosh, this box is not easy to get open. Now, I will say, there is no way to make these things not look funny. As far as I can tell, even the best of them look like you are Darth Vader. They have something like this on your front. This one is going to make you look like a duck. But if it works, I actually don't really care about that. I just want to be able to record some thoughts, record some memos. Honestly, when I write books or when I write papers or anything like that, I dictate them first. I kind of speak to the ideas to give me kind of an outline of stuff that I can work on, and then I edit that. So another cardboard box right here. And here is the Mutalk 2 Quick Start Guide. I got this in Bluetooth, and apparently they had a wired version, and I wanted to be able to maybe pair this to my computer, pair it to my phone, pair it to another electronic device, an iPad or something like that if you're using it. So first things first, over here looks like we get an accessories box. Looks like we get a mouthpiece, and I'm hoping that this is maybe a separate replacement. So you can see what it looks like here. It's kind of a soft rubber, and this would cover the mouth to keep your voice isolated. The other thing that I got is there's one that has like a nose cover. There's a lot of times when what you're saying is also being translated through the canals in your nose, and so people can understand. In fact, sometimes your ears and your mind hone in on that. When you're like, what is that? It's a weird sounding sound. And then you're like listening to that. And sometimes people are right next to you shouting, and you're kind of just like blocking it out. You're not even hearing what they're saying. So it's kind of like sneaking out of bed in the middle of the night. I feel like that actually wakes up people because they're not used to hearing people sneak. They're like, well, what's going on? Who's sneaking out of bed? Is it a killer? But if you just get up and you're really loud, they're like, oh, I know who that is. You won't wake me up. I'll just fall asleep. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. It's a little backwards. So we do get a little USB plug right there. I'm thinking that's like a receiver. We also get some like silicone plugs there. We get a head strap here. It's actually elastic on the sides, but this part is not. So I'm assuming if you want to wear it and do a lot of dictation, this would clip onto it there. And then it looks like we get some sort of extender right there. And then we get the Mutalk 2 itself. And here it is. Like I said, it's going to be like a little duck build, and I'm not overly worried about that. It's a plastic construction right here. We have a little hole right there. I think that is for venting some air so that you don't get overpressure here. This is what I was talking about, this little respirator mask here. These are little vents, and that is to allow air in and out. But I think this is to cover your nose so that your nostrils aren't telegraphing what you're talking about. So you can just put this on, and now my mouth is going to be covered, but my nose will be exposed. And so I think if you really want privacy, you're going to want it with this nose piece here. And it looks like it just kind of pulls off and then it just kind of presses into the little channel there. Now I want to show you what we get right here is a little foam liner, kind of like a windscreen. So I hope that you don't have to worry about wind noise, breathing noise on it. You can see how thick it is. It's almost an inch thick and it's cut out there to go over that. This is actually really necessary. If I just talk into this without the foam, the thing actually makes you sound louder. So the foam is actually what's really doing the work. There are two pieces right here I want to show you. This is actually the microphone. It's kind of wired in there. It's like a little bud. The bottom has the opening right there, so when you're talking into it, the microphone is just off the side of your face. You might be wondering what this thing is. I actually thought that this was the microphone. There's a little slot right there, but what that is it's a channel to this. So this is a pass-through, so when you're speaking into it and creating that overpressure, it's actually going out through there, or if you're sucking in, it's drawing in air through there. So the easiest way to show you is to blow on it from this side. And I can feel the air coming out through here. Again, it's a fairly small channel. I kind of wish it were a little bigger to allow more air to come in and out quicker so that when you are speaking into it, you're not kind of drawing breath hard or exhaling and having that overpressure build in there. But these are the two pieces that kind of make this thing work. Now, I am not assuming that this is going to be the best audio quality of any microphone that you can get. You know, this iRig studio microphone is a cheap USB microphone. I think it's 35 bucks, but the audio quality is really good from it. I don't think this is going to be like this. If this is actually as good as pods or earbuds or something like that, I would be really impressed with it. It's meant to be more passable, more professional in use, just kind of be able to give you the isolation from noise around you, as well as protect what you're talking about. On the bottom there, we have USB-C, so I think that's for charging up. This is a 3.5mm port right there. I think this is so that you can put in earplugs maybe to hear or monitor, and then it looks like we have a little power button right there. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back on here. I'm going to go ahead and charge this guy up. I want to see what it's like to pair it to my device, and then we will start recording with it. And guess what? You will have to be the judge of whether this thing sucks or is a savior. So let's get to it. All right, the first thing I want to say about this is I do have it plugged in. You can see it's charging with the red light there. I will also say that it does not like the low power chargers. So those 15 watt, 12 watt chargers didn't seem to turn this light on, but my 45 watt charger here seems to be doing the trick. So I'm not sure what the threshold is to kind of get it going. The slower chargers, the lower watt chargers, I'm sure maybe we'll kind of trickle charge it over longer periods of time, but I needed one of the higher flow chargers to get this thing going. Alright guys, so I have been playing around with this Mutalk 2 here, and there's some things that I really like about it and some things that I don't. Let me talk about the things that I don't first, because the list is kind of important. The first thing is, I actually don't really like the straps for the thing. I actually like being able to put it over my face like this and pull it away as I need to, because otherwise it can get a little hard to breathe in here, because these little valves, the one is for exhausting air, so that overpressure, and then one is for drawing air in when you breathe in. They just don't seem to have enough capacity. Now, I don't have great lungs. I'm not like a tennis player or a marathon runner. But especially when you're talking, like singers, you kind of take a deeper breath sometimes before you go into a sentence. Maybe you don't do it when you're just having a drink with buddies. But if I were to start a sentence like this, like, "How are you doing? It's good to see you." And I do that in here, I go, "Ugh." You know, you're kind of pulling that in. It makes a lot of noise. The valve, you can hear it kind of whistling. Now, without the straps, it's a little easier because I can go, all right, so this is what I'm doing, and then kind of pull it away and put it back up when I need to, and I really actually like that. Your hand might get a little tired depending if you're talking a very long time, but if you have the strap on here and this is sealed up against your nose and mouth, I mean, I feel like they're going to hear that breathing. So I don't know if you can make the valves a little bigger. If you do put on this other piece here where you don't have the nose covered, you can breathe in and out through your nose a little bit more, but like I said, that makes a channel available for sound to come out. The other thing I will say is that it looks a little goofy. Now, even though you kind of look like a duck-billed Darth Vader with it, like this, I actually think it's one of the better looking ones. The ones that look like a face mask or one of those dust masks and tries to be a little more ergo probably isn't as easy to hold. This actually is pretty easy, just like this, to hold and put it up to your face, and you're never gonna win any beauty contest with this thing. So, you know, what does it really matter what it looks like? And being black like this, it's kind of subtle if you're using this in public. Now, I was actually sitting in the tire repair place the other day because I blew out my tire on a nail on the road and was waiting to get a new one. And I actually wish I had had this because there were some other people and I could actually just pulled this out and actually done a little work and spoken to it, and people would probably hear me and they'd kind of hear that muffled talk when you're talking into this thing, but that's okay. Assuming the weather's nice or something, you could go outside and do it there too, but it's just kind of nice because I could do some things and be a little productive.
Okay, so you're probably wondering what the audio quality is like when I speak into the Mutalk. And here I'm about to tell you that I've got it pressed up to my mouth. Now, one of the things that I'm doing here is breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. And I'm doing that in a little bit of an exaggerated way because when you are talking, there are going to be times when you need to take a breath. Now, on the intake, I can actually pull this away. So if I'm talking and then I need a big breath, and then I can just put it back to my mouth. Now, if you have it strapped on, you don't have the option to do that, but I actually just like holding it up to my mouth here. Now, the other thing that I have noticed recording a bunch of audio with this is that somehow the microphone itself is doing some sort of leveling, I think, and a common problem when you have microphones really close and small microphones, that they can start to sound like they are in a box. And I actually think this Mutalk does maybe one of the best jobs of this. It doesn't make it like spiky or loud or hard on the ear. So many times I have used some of these dictation boxes and it just sounds either like you're speaking through a tin can or the peaks and valley of the sound are just really too high or too low and they sound kind of shrill. But this seems to have pretty good pickup. It's a little bit dull, so it's not as sharp as speaking into like a condenser microphone on a podcast. But I think you could adjust some of this audio on the back end if you really needed it to be used for a podcast or something professional. But in terms of blocking out some of the sound and letting me speak in a public place, I'm actually pretty impressed with this. And so far, it's probably the best audio I have ever picked up with one of these devices that kind of presses up against your face.
Oh, and just to show you what you can do with the audio after you recorded it into the Mutalk, I've gone ahead and taken the audio that I recorded on it, and I've done some adjustment post-recording to show you what it could be.
Now, if you're using this like a mini studio or sound studio, it's also not going to work for that. The audio quality and the recording quality just isn't as good as some other things. You know, certainly like a condenser mic like this is going to be a lot better, but it will suffice for, you know, voicemail or training videos or something like that. Let's get to the stuff that I do like. First of all, I like this software button right here. Sometimes I wish it were a little faster to power up, but it powers up, it connects to my phone, and so I love the idea that I can just use it wirelessly, Bluetooth, to my phone, just pulling it out of my bag, turning it on, and start recording right away, and it works with a voice recorder, it works with a camera, it's really awesome. The other thing I like is this duckbill shape is nice and easy to hold in my hand, just like this, right? So I can just kind of hold it up like this, and do my karaoke. I am a man who will fight for your honor. And then just have that recording, and actually it's fairly compact. The one thing I do wish is I wish this were a little more securely attached right here, because if I just put this in my bag without a covering or in a box or a bag or something, this thing always pops out. The channel for the rubber piece here just isn't that deep and isn't that strong and tight, and as you can see, it's just kind of pulled off there, and I'm not going to even be able to snap it back on very quickly. So I think that could be improved, or the lip around it made a little bit sturdier. I get that they want to make it interchangeable with this, so you know, that's kind of the drawback to it. The other thing that I really love is that it is USB-C charged here, so I don't have to carry any special cables for it. All the standard cables that I have for all the other electronics are going to charge this up perfectly, so I don't have a proprietary cable that I need to keep in my travel case or in my desk or at home or anything like that, so I can always just charge it up right there. And the last thing I like about this, and you can be the judge of what the audio quality is, the audio quality is so much better than some of the other devices that I have used. And the problem there is that sometimes they take the microphone from the Apple earbuds and they wire it through the box and you're talking into that, and it's not meant to do that. So however they have set this up to actually capture the audio without it sounding like you're talking into a tin cup or very far away or breathing right on a microphone or something like that, it actually works pretty good. I know there are a lot of challenges with having a microphone right up to your face inside a box and it's sounding good, but they have done actually a pretty good job at that. And the last thing I really actually like about this is the app. It's pretty simple, it's not super unique, but you can adjust the gain on this. It updated the firmware on this, and so I actually like that too, because actually I was noticing that it seemed to kind of record at a nice mid-level there, but if you are going to talk even a little quieter to take advantage of this, you know, and maybe of the privacy, I'm going to talk about my client really quietly into this thing, well, then you can jack up that gain so that it's picking up what you're putting down, if you know what I'm saying. So do I like the Mutalk 2? Absolutely. I paid a couple $100, I think, for this thing. $199 is what I recall it being. Would I say it's an awesome deal at $199? Probably not. If this were $99, I would feel a lot better about it, because it's not something that I'll use a lot. It's not something that kind of blows me away or is game-changing in many ways. There are other devices out there that are in the $40 or $50 range that aren't as good, but are a fraction of the price. But will this thing go with me on my trips, when I'm working, when I'm traveling, all those things? Absolutely. Even if you're on a road trip and wanted to take a phone call or something like that without disturbing the other people in the car and they could continue their conversation, you could certainly do that. And if you're one of those people that has to take phone calls while you're sitting at the gate at the airport, please pick one of these up. I feel like there are two types of people. There are the type of people that try to talk a little softer when they get on the phone, and it's like really suspicious, like, sure, we can do that. And then there are the other people that have a normal speaking voice like this, but when they get on the phone, they talk louder. Yeah, faux show, we can do that. Yeah, just tell Jenny that's fine with me. It's like they talk 50% louder than they do in real life. So I think this thing is pretty cool. It's actually pretty useful. It's not going to be used all the time, but if you are a road warrior, you're finding yourself away from your desk, away from the office, traveling a lot, out in public, want to record your own daily journal, want to record a audio message, a voicemail, a training video, something like that, pick it up. Maybe that'll get the price down over time. So if you want to pick up a Mutalk, I'll put a link to it in the description below. Peter Von Panda, out.